That dude's like this when he first shows up on land with these big-ass fish Google eyes. And it looks really funny. But it does look accurate, because if he was underwater, that's the type of eyes the fish have. They have these big, eyelidless eyes, and they look really funny. So, pros and cons of SHIN Godzilla. Cons. I'll go cons first. I did not think it's better than -1. I heard from a friend that it was better than -1. I think the concept could have been better if it was executed better, but it was not executed as well as it could have been. There's a character in this movie that she is a representative. She's like an ambassador for the United States. She's in a different movie. That girl needs some direction, because she was like rolling her eyes and like doing saucy head movements like she's a goddamn teenager. And I'm like, you are in a different film. You do not have the gravitas of the situation down. You are so being like, I'm from Japanese Mean Girls. I couldn't stand her. And she's in it the whole movie. I was like, please leave. And there was a lot of moments where you could tell they didn't think what was happening was entertaining to a crowd. So they were trying to put in some cool music to sound like it was early 2000s. Like, you know, science is fun. You're talking about science. It's a lot of talking about science and looking at papers on a desk. I like that, but I'm like, I could tell they didn't believe the audience like that. So they were like trying to make it sound cool at a lot of different moments, using different camera angles and fish eyes and close-ups. And it was all to keep the energy going for what was probably boring to a lot of people. I understand it. Yeah. So, pros. I like the concept. I like that the military side, trying to see what the political thing of this would be. Very realistic. Very interesting. -1 deals a lot with a personal one-on-one man's, journey to redeem himself from his kamikaze failed mission. And Godzilla's his big outlet to do so. This is all about what would probably happen in real life. The government dealing with all the options to take down a gigantic, destructive reptile walking onto land. And I felt that in itself, even though many people might find this stuff boring when they're discussing science and discussing political paperwork and rules and UN and things like that, I'm like, it is what would happen, and that's what makes it fascinating. The moral dilemmas of how to deal with this as it progressively got worse and worse was very interesting. Obviously, they got all the way to the nuclear option, and that was very interesting in itself. Godzilla's design when he first gets on land was really funny, but, I think pretty realistic if it was to be entirely submerged forever. I love Godzilla's design overall. He looks scary. He had, no eyelids ever, so he just looked super intimidating. He had unique powers. His mouth split open. His teeth were crazy. He was like magma. He was raining fire. This rain of fire throughout the city to destroy it. He shot a super heat laser beam that made a cool, unique sound. Love the sound effect. He shot fucking laser beams out of his back. I'm like, this guy is unstoppable. I would love to see him versus -1 Godzilla. Who would win that? Because this guy's doing a lot of crazy stuff, but -1 Godzilla also shoots a nuclear blast out of his mouth. So, crazy stuff. Very interesting Godzilla. I feel like he'd make a very fun action figure. He has the funniest, quirky little arms. They always have the tiniest arms. They don't even need arms. It'll look really funny, Godzilla without arms. The characters weren't really a focus of the movie, so nobody needed to be a character. It's one of the few times that really works. Like, they had little characters. You got Gucci, if that's a character. They have the political character, the guy with the glasses, where he's talking about how, foreign funding is going to save Japan. That was a cool, unique twist that I feel like would be realistic with politicians and the sociopaths that they are. Yeah, but this movie was very entertaining. Pretty realistic, to a degree. I love watching the military fight Godzilla. I love the fucking missiles they're launching at it. I love the seeing the tanks rolling up. I love the interior shots of the tank. A lot of cool camera work in this movie. I love the war between the politicians and the scientists trying to come up with a scientific way to defeat Godzilla before they go for the United States obvious blow everything up way, which would happen. Yeah. But overall, I think this movie is a solid A-. Pretty damn good. I think Godzilla -1 is an A+ movie. But this one's pretty damn good. I liked it a lot. I think that it would bore some people to a degree at certain moments, but it had its moments. It had a lot of great moments that would keep the average viewer engaged. I mean, and it's not 2 hours and 45 minutes like all the American Godzilla movies, so there's that. What do you think about SHIN Godzilla? And what do you think it stacks up in the Godzilla universe? And compared to the last one that just came out, -1, SHIN Godzilla. I think -1 still wins.